Good morning. It's me again. Me and Gigi. He's in my lap where you can't see him being super cute and cuddly. Because he knows the weather's bugging me and I'm not feeling all that great. And I had a rough little visit with the store. It is the first part of the month, so you do tend to run into a few more jerks when you go to any store at the first of the month. So that's probably all that is. And I'm realizing I want to be more positive. Um, there's a lot of things in this life that are just negative, and you can't control what other people are doing or thinking or saying. And we can try to fix things by being a better example, because I don't really have enough to make people behave. They don't want to behave, they're not going to. So try and set a good example and try to do better and try to make my life better. Try to focus on things that are better. And I know sometimes that's hard, especially like today. My fiber's kicking my butt. We had strong storms move through last night, and there was a bunch of lightning, and there was heavy rain and accidents, and oh, it hurts so much. I can't even tell you. And then today, it's still cold and it's still yucky, and Gigi just wants to cuddle, which is good. And I'm just not feeling well, and it's crazy, and mm, there goes my brain. Oh well, at least it came back in good time. Oh, he's gonna let me move my legs. Oh, he's a heavy boy. But it's more to cuddle. Um, so I'm trying to think of more positive things to do, and maybe people can introduce themselves, and so we can get to know each other. I know I probably don't have a lot of people looking at this right now. But that's fine. I'm Valerie, and I'm 48, and I live in Washington State, and I have fibromyalgia, and I have um, metabolic and autoimmune complications, and I have some brain damage from being abused. And that's my disabilities. But I can do good things too. I was a really good mom. My kids grew up. That's why I say was. I don't have any grandkids yet. Um, I'm really good at crochet, and I'm really good with kids and animals. And I try to stay as active as I can, even though I'm not as able to do as much as I used to be able to do. I still try to stay as active as I can because that'll keep me going a little longer. As far as things that a lot of us get to look forward like being bedridden or put in a nursing home. Um, so I want to try to keep active so that I can stay active. And I want to eat healthy so that I can stay healthy. And that's me in a nutshell. And not a big proponent of drugs because I've mentioned before, I found that drugs create more problems for me than solutions. So, but I also know that's not everybody's experience. Um, uh, so what are you guys good at? What's going on with you guys? That's a good one. Gigi's floating around. Um, Getting used to it being here in Spokane. It's very different from Bellingham. Um, didn't even leave the state, and it feels like I left the state. Yesterday we discovered a spider, and I had thought that it was harmless and got it into my capture jar and noticed the thing was acting weird, and so I looked it up and found out that it wasn't harmless and I shouldn't have put it in the capture jar. But it didn't tell me how to get it out of the capture jar, so I didn't know what to do with it. It wound up just dying in the capture jar for some reason. It wasn't an airproof. I mean, it wasn't an airtight seal or anything, so it should have been fine for a little while, but it just, I don't know, maybe something was wrong with it and that's why it was acting strangely, but yeah, that was fun. So now I get to look up how to get things like spider traps, because I just heard that they do have spider traps. And they're supposed to be little sticky things like the fly traps, and then like those fly paper strips you hang from the ceiling to catch the spiders. As we've found some very interesting things here. I found a hobo spider. Well, Gigi found it, and then I had to squish it because it was too aggressive to get it into the capture cup. Um, and then, but mostly we've been finding common, okay spiders like cellar spiders and house spiders. The ones here are like twice as size the ones in Bellingham, and their bites are really weird. They make you so anxious. It's hard to sleep, and they just make you itch everywhere. So it's not really that bad of a bite, but it still had some issues. So when I found the spiders that were biting me, I put them outside. And that's what I was hoping to do with the spiders when I find them, but sometimes you should squish them. Um, I just don't like killing things. So my spider rule is if the spider is in a spider safe place, then I can leave him alone. If the spider gets to where it's causing a problem, then it has to either go outside or get squished. Um, I'm not used to toxic spiders, so I'm not really sure what to, you know. I'm used to being in Bellingham. We didn't have any. Well, not that were native to Bellingham. There's no toxic spiders native to that area, but they come in sometimes on trucks or whatever. They'll ride the hay bales from other areas, and so you do get them from time to time. But most of the spiders there, I could literally pick it up with my hand and throw it out the door, but not here. So that's creating a little anxiety, but I don't want to be anxious. And trying to do plans for the future of my booth and maybe try to figure out what to do with my online sales. It's not really doing that great. I can't do a lot of stuff with it because it's weird how the Facebook shops are set up. You have to get enough attention to monetize, which means I have to get like 10,000 people, which is a bit unrealistic for what I'm doing. Plus, I have a catalog, but I can't access it and the people can't see it. I have to clean it out because I've sold most of the stuff that it's in the catalog because I put the stuff in the catalog when I set up the site thinking people would see it. And it was the stuff that I know would sell very quickly. So now I can't access the catalog to clean it out, and my customers can't access the catalog to see what I do. So I keep doing posts like pictures and videos and stuff like that to try to get people interested, but they're so I even tried to do a fundraiser so that I could do a post and boost it to try to get more attention and still. So I might not focus on that for a little while. Maybe focus on the booth because I'm actually doing something with that. I do get enough sales. I am getting attention there. I am getting sales there, just not very much. And sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to focus on what's doing well and what's not doing well. And I think I'm doing fairly well with the booth because um, I've only had 2 months where I didn't make booth cost, and I was pretty close to. I was at a fairly reasonable amount that I owed. And once the first time I had the money, the second time I didn't, but because it was under $20, it wasn't that big of a deal to ask for help with that. But I'm coming into a time frame when it's going to be warmer and people are going to want to get out more. So hopefully I can get more sales going and I can get established, because that's one of the things you got to work on when you get when you do something new, whether it's your business or it's you're working through somebody else's businesses. You have to work on getting established, and sometimes that can be a little bit difficult. And that's kind of where that is, and especially with me getting established with the economy kind of looking like it's gonna just tank at any minute. That's hard too. But a lot of people are trying to do the shop local and support disabled, and so they're looking for the crafters though, because they know that a lot of crafters are elderly and disabled. That's how we got the time to get good at it. Um, I learned when I was 5. I learned how to crochet when I was 5 years old, which is a little young. Most people can't focus on learning it that young, but I had some learning difficulties when I started school because I'm dyslexic, and the school district was trying to say I was retarded, and my great grandmother threw a fit and decided that she was gonna teach me something if it killed her, and she got me into arts and crafts, and I learned how to crochet. I never could do the knitting. I found that most people can't do both. My great grandma could, but most people can't. Um, it's just something about the way your brain works, but you do one or the other. It's fine. Don't need to do both. But yeah, so I'm a real big proponent for arts and crafts. They're really good for mental health. They're good for keeping you busy, making you feel like you've got a purpose, you're doing something. Especially if you're somebody who does get bedridden a lot. That's something you can do in your bed. You could knit a scarf or crochet a scarf, or you do the stuff while you're stuck in bed. And like me, I'm having a hard time with transporting myself because my back. I'd gotten injured at work a few years ago, and it caused some significant nerve damage along my spine, and so especially when the weather's bad, I get a lot of back pain. And then I fell a couple months back on the ice. That didn't really help. So traveling is hard for me. So that's one of the issues that I have with getting to the booth. But thankfully, my son-in-law is typically real willing to take my stuff or pick up my checks or clean up the booth or whatever that needs to be done. So at least I've got that, and I'm hoping that people have at least some mild support because you kind of need it. You need people around, and that's kind of the reason why I'm doing this, is so that we can support each other in ways. I mean, I can't give people money, but I can tell you stuff that's worked from my point of view, because I find that doctors and therapists and stuff like that, they get stuck on one thing or the other. If they're not a big proponent of medicine, they're just absolutely certain that this specific diet that they want everybody with that condition on is the answer. And I had a really hard time when I got diagnosed with fibro, because they told me that I couldn't have like half the food that my body responded to well, because most people with fibro don't respond well to those foods. And that made me upset that they were telling me that I basically couldn't eat. And then I found out later that they tell you that because a lot of people with fibromyalgia have stomach issues, and it can cause you to bloat, like tomatoes and potatoes and stuff like that can cause you to bloat, apparently. I don't remember what the issue was with blueberries, but they were telling me I couldn't have blueberries, which is weird. And wine has something to do with phosphates. I'm not a big drinker. I do drink on occasion to help when the pain gets too much, because it helps my body to relax, and it'll let me sleep, and it'll let me heal up, and it just like, yeah. But like an occasional glass of wine isn't going to create a problem. But if I'm drinking all the time, then it doesn't work and it creates problems. So you got to find that balance. But yeah, I discovered that my issue was that I'm preservative reactive, and I don't have any of the typical food issues that a lot of people with fibro do have. So that was something. So I can eat what I want. I pretty much I do have food allergies, and I do know what causes my stomach to freak out. Thankfully, I have a fairly typical form of IBS, and they think it may actually be caused from being premature. Um, which being premature can cause a lot of issues, and then those issues stack up. And then if you've got something like fibro or a metabolic disorder on top of it, then just keep stacking. So someday it feels like all I'm doing is monitoring and balancing everything to keep it from going off. And that's why I'm trying to be more positive. So yeah, I'm trying to focus on what might sell at the booth, but just don't really know this area that well. So last Halloween, some kid had come by with a Kraken hat on, and so I'm wanting to get that Kraken hats out to my booth so that people can see that they're there at least, and maybe buy them, whatever they might be thinking about buying them, because I'm not really sure the mindset of this area. I mean, in Wacom, I could have sold them year round if I had appropriate way of selling them. Here, I don't know because I don't know the general mindset of the area other than people keep saying that it's Republican. And so that's something I'm learning too. I get along with my neighbors though, that's good. I seem to have pretty good neighbors on this block. We're all chasing the homeless people off when they get on the properties. The big dogs go nuts, so that makes most of them realize that's not a good place to be doing whatever it is that they're doing. But we don't have big dogs, but seems like all the neighbors do. So, and it also seems like my neighbors are having more problems with prowlers than they have big dogs. That's kind of a weird thing. So it makes me wonder if they aren't trying to get the big dogs, because some people want the big dogs for bad reasons. But yeah, I feel like I'm in a good neighborhood. We got a nice block we can walk. I've been walking with my son, and I'm trying to get the kids to eat better. It's a little hard though, because they're stubborn. I mean, they're not really kids anymore, and that makes it even harder. But yeah, that is what it is. So that's all that is. And so today I'm gonna focus on little things. I noticed that my tiny turtles and my Yodas are still selling quite a bit. That's another thing for people who do craft sales. Always make sure you have your cheapos, your cute little things that whip up really quick, that you don't have to, that you can mark for $5 or less, because that's the stuff, especially in an economy like this, that's going to sell the fastest. Always make sure you have things that are nicer too, because sometimes people might actually have an extra 100 and they're looking for a very specific item, like a special blanket or somebody that can do oh, you gonna say hi? Oh, look at him. Look at him. He's so cute. Or somebody that can do the embroiders, like when you have a baby and they have the special blanket with all their like the name and the date and the time and the weight and all that good stuff. Because people like to do that. And yeah, so it's good to have a mix of like big expensive things, because like my Kraken hats, I'm selling them for $50. I see them on Etsy for way more expensive, and it seems like people are selling them. So um I don't know why they're charging more on Etsy. It is um a lot of work, and it does use up a lot of yarn, but I'll try to do mine with the like a basic type of yarn, like Red Heart, and there's one that Hirschner's has. It's called Basics, but it's spelled with an X instead of an S. And and then there's like Big Twist that I think is Joanne's brand, and then can't remember, it was Hobby Lobby. It has, I think they call it. I love this yarn. It's really cool. It's super soft. Got a lot of colors. Um, so I use that stuff. Most of that is made. It's a little bit. It's readily available on the market. It's though yarn is expensive right now, it's still usually under $10 a skein if you can get it. And if it's more expensive, it's still within the $15-20 range, including shipping, if you have to have it shipped. Where some of the yarns that I know these other people are using are more specialty type yarns, and they're probably like a lot more expensive, because I know the yarn that the person suggested using when I got the pattern um was like, I didn't get the yarn because it was like $45 a ball, and I'm like, or like $30 or something. It was crazy expensive, and it was for less than 5 ounces, and I'm like, no, because you need like a full pound of the main color, and then I think it's still like 4 to 8 ounces for the tentacles. I usually get the one that's the Red Heart, the 4-ply to make it, because then it's just big. And then I've been playing around with making it smaller. I figured out the hooks for the smallest size that I think I can make with the 4-ply, and it fits me. So I gotta figure out that one and maybe play around with the sizes, but yeah. So I'm doing my Krakens is more of an Econo type thing. I still try to get my time. So that's part of the reason why I'm putting them at 50, because it takes a long time, and the tentacle, when you sew the two tentacle pieces together, that's really hard because you use a smaller hook so that it'll curl. And it starts doing weird things, so then I have to put my hand in weird positions and it starts to hurt. So that's part of the reason that it's a little expensive too. It's like if I ever did the cat bed, like the little couch back here, if I ever did, like Gigi's little couch back here, for sale, I would probably have to charge a lot because the stuff that you use is expensive. For the inside, it's expensive, and it uses like 3-4 pounds of yarn, and it's way more intricate than it looks. So yeah, I'd probably have to charge a lot for that, and that's part of the reason why I don't. And it hurts me a bit when I'm trying to get it together, and they start to look sloppy because they slide around, and yeah. So that's kind of why I'm not doing the cat couches. Plus, I'm not sure that there's that much of a market. They would be fairly expensive, and I don't know if there's a market, but I do have the pattern for them. Yeah, some of my best sellers are my own pattern. The Baby Yodas are my own. The little Hello Kitty dolls are my own. Um, I used to sell these dolls called Curly Girls. That was my own pattern. Um, so yeah, some of my best patterns are my own idea, but I do have some patterns that other people came up with that I got mostly off of Etsy. Got some retro ones and I've got some new ones. So that's another thing is like you can use your own patterns and it's okay to do other patterns. You just gotta have a range of things to figure out what's gonna sell and what's not. So that's sort of a thing. Um, so yeah. Hey, at least I do feel a little bit rambly, but at least I think I stayed at least mostly on topic. So I think I'm getting better with this. That I was talking about the craft sales, so and talking about introducing ourselves. So we can do craft sales and introductions. um, though I am in a bit of pain, I'm in a fairly good mood today, and I'm hoping to keep that up. And I'm trying to be like really positive, and I'm hoping you guys can stay positive and figure things out. And but I'm probably gonna go and I'm gonna get some stuff done if I can. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Oh, and like and subscribe if it lets you. I'm not sure how that works yet. Nobody's done it yet. That's a challenge. Like and subscribe. See if it works. I'll see you later. Bye.